Episode 2. A Paper Crown. The drive to Cassian's estate was long and silent. Amara sat in the back seat of a black Bentley, her hands resting stiffly on her lap. Cassian sat beside her like a carved statue, immaculate in a dark suit, his expression unreadable even when the passing streetlights illuminated his profile. They hadn't spoken a word since the courthouse. The ink on their marriage license was still drying, but Amara already felt like she'd signed something far more dangerous than a legal agreement. She hadn't just agreed to become someone's wife, she'd agreed to vanish into the life of a man whose power stretched farther than she could comprehend. The city lights faded behind them, swallowed by forest and fog as the road curved upward. She didn't know where they were going, and Cassian hadn't offered when they finally arrived. The mansion rose out of the darkness like something torn from an old novel, a Gothic estate with tall wrought iron gates, sharp arches, and ivy crawling like veins along its stone walls. The house was massive, but silent, as if it had been abandoned by time. The only lights on were faint and golden behind the arched windows. A woman in a black suit waited by the door, her hands clasped neatly in front of her. "Mrs. Drake," she said with a polite bow. "Welcome to Ashvale Manor. I'm Ingrid, the house manager." "I'll escort you inside." "Mrs. Drake?" The name still rang like a curse. Amara stepped out of the car. Her boots sank slightly into the gravel as a cool wind brushed past her, lifting her hair and sending a shiver down her spine. Cassian remained behind her, silent as a shadow. Inside, the house was cold and quiet, too quiet. There were no ticking clocks, no music, no TV, just the soft click of Ingrid's heels and the distant creak of floorboards settling somewhere deep within the house. Oil paintings hung along the hall's dark, moody portraits with eyes that seemed to follow her as she passed. Gold sconces lit the corridors in a dim glow, and the ceiling stretched high enough to swallow sound. "You'll be staying in the East Wing," Ingrid explained. "Mr. Drake occupies the West Wing. Your rooms are private. If you require anything, press the call button by your nightstand." Amara nodded mutely, her skin crawling. The East Wing room was beautiful but cold. Everything was black, silver, or ivory. A king-size bed, untouched. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined with perfectly arranged volumes. No warmth, no softness. Like a hotel suite curated by someone who never lived here. Ingrid handed her a keycard and a folded piece of paper. "Your routine will begin at 8 a.m. Breakfast is optional. Dinner is formal. Mr. Drake expects punctuality. Your clothing allowance and banking details are in your nightstand. There is a gym, library, conservatory, and spa available for your use. Security patrols the estate regularly." Amara raised a brow. "Security? For what?" Ingrid didn't smile. "For protection. Mr. Drake's name attracts attention." Not all of it wanted. And with that, Ingrid turned and left, the door clicking shut behind her. Amara wandered the room like a ghost. There weren't no photos, no signs of life, just pristine surfaces and sterile elegance. She opened drawers at random, half expecting to find handcuffs or hidden cameras. Instead, she found luxury stationery, silk robes, and a row of expensive perfumes still sealed. It felt like a stage. Like she was the last actress to walk on. She stood by the tall window and looked out over the endless woods. Fog clung to the trees, and somewhere in the distance a wolf howled. "I'm not afraid of you," she whispered to the shadows. But she was. Dinner was served at 9 p.m. sharp. She entered the grand dining room wearing a simple black dress she'd found hanging in her new closet. It fit her perfectly. She hated that Cassian was already seated at the far end of the massive table, dressed in a black shirt, sleeves rolled to his forearms. He didn't look up as she entered, just gestured to the chair at the opposite end. The table stretched like a canyon between them. 2 place settings, dozens of unlit candles, silver platters of food untouched. "You don't eat with your staff?" she asked, sitting. "I'm not in the habit of sharing my private life with employees, he said without emotion. And I'm your, what, employee? Cassian's fork stilled. He looked up then, his gaze sharp. You're my wife, on paper. You will live here, follow the rules, and maintain the public appearance of this marriage. In exchange, you'll have everything you asked for. And what about what you asked for? Cassian's gaze flickered with something unreadable. I asked for compliance, not affection. Amara stabbed her food. You could have hired a robot. It would have been cheaper, but not as interesting. She looked up. Do you always manipulate desperate women into marriage, or am I special? You're very special, he said quietly. But not for the reason you think. That silenced her. That night she couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house made her jump. The bed was too soft, the room too quiet. She lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering what secrets lived in the walls of Ashvale Manor. Around 2 a.m., she got up and wandered the halls barefoot, trailing her fingers along the cold walls. The house was maze-like. Doors she tried were locked. Others creaked open to reveal storage rooms, old furniture, covered paintings, dust, darkness, and silence. She paused outside a door with a strange symbol etched into the frame, a circle with a line through it. It gave her a strange chill. She didn't touch it. As she turned to go, a voice cut through the dark. You shouldn't be wandering. Cassian stood in the hallway behind her, wearing black pants and no shirt. His chest was broad, scarred. His expression unreadable. Couldn't sleep, she said. Curiosity will get you hurt in this house. Amara lifted her chin. Then maybe don't leave so many doors locked. Cassian stepped closer. There are things in this place that belong to the past. And the past doesn't like to be touched. And what about you? She asked softly. Are you locked too? His jaw clenched. He stepped so close she could feel the heat of him, smell the faint scent of smoke and cedar. I'm worse than locked, he whispered. I'm sealed. Then he turned and vanished into the shadows. Back in her room, Amara touched the edge of her wedding band, a thin, platinum circle that meant nothing and everything. She didn't know what kind of man Cassian Drake truly was, but something told her she was just beginning to scratch the surface.